the end of the day, we're really a solutions integrator. We listen to people, listen to what their problems are, and then we will go create a solution for them, and we'll bring those three pieces together and then package it up and give it back to them in the exact format they want.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nusky. I'm your host. It's wonderful to be back with you, and it is a privilege of mine to be the host of this show and spend some time with some incredibly talented people doing some amazing things in the world, and I'm hoping that you're getting a lot of value from joining us on the show. Now, with that being said, I'm on the line with Chris Bursey, and we're going to be talking about his entrepreneurial journey, the Internet of Things, sensors, and the bright future of a company that he founded and is the CEO at, which is called Direct Communication Solutions. So with all that being said, Chris, bit of a mouthful, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Now, you and I were just talking about your daughter, her sporting exploits, and I'd love to learn a little bit about that, because I came to start thinking about motivation, and maybe that's probably a good place to start. Now, what actually motivates you, Chris? What actually gets your motor running every day?
4 kids. Yeah. 4 kids, definitely, that responsibility, and it's, I love the space.
Yeah.
The space it's growing at an amazing rate. It's fast paced. It's creative. It's wide open, and, it's awesome to see some of the cool things that are evolving, and, being in this space for 20 plus years, it's come a long way, and it's got a long way to go. So it's very exciting.
Yes, thank you. I know that you had some exposure in the military, and you served for a number of years, which we've briefly spoken about. I'd love to go back in time and just talk a little bit about, I guess, your life prior to getting into the SaaS space, and what it was like for you. And did any of those experiences lead you to become the founder and CEO that you are today?
Yeah. I'll give you the abridged version.
Yes, please.
It's I was in the military for 8 years, U.S. Navy. I was an air traffic controller on the USS Midway, USS Kitty Hawk. Got out of the Navy. I went to university to get my degree, and I worked as a 911 dispatcher for 5 years. I worked nights doing that. Got my degree, started out in this space, started out in inside sales back in 98, 99, and just worked my way through. So I've had the benefit and the pleasure of working at big corporate companies. I worked for Novatel Wireless, which is now in Seago.
Yep.
Kyocera, Motorola, and then I parlayed that and started DCS, and started as myself and one other person got it going, and we built it up to where it is today. But it's a lot of experiences, and biggest thing I've learned over the years is just being able to have the exposure and know how to deal with different people from different cultures, different personalities, different languages, different everything. So it's
that's fantastic.
It's a huge help in life.
I can imagine. Do you recall the very first entrepreneurial experience that you had, Chris, that was the trigger point for you that told you internally, hey, this is for me?
I was working at Motorola at the time, and they were starting to go through some changes, and it was one of those things where I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now, and it worked. It was a lot of hard work, and a lot of sleepless nights and stress, but that comes with the territory, and I think today it's definitely worth it. I would definitely do it again. No regrets.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, I forgot to ask you, Chris, where are you located? Where's home for you?
We're actually headquartered in San Diego, California.
Beautiful place.
Tech hotspot. We've got Qualcomm, Broadcom, a lot of brilliant people in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great, tight-knit technology community.
Hub, absolutely. I know a lot of people that major names as well that are in that space over there. I noticed a golf course behind you there. Are you a sports person at all? Do you enjoy playing sports, or?
That is a picture of my first hole-in-one that I got.
Oh, get out.
So,
are you a man with a hole-in-one? I can't believe I've finally met somebody who's had a hole-in-one.
Everybody gets tired of hearing it, but I want everybody in the world to know that I finally got one. So it's one of my crowning achievements in life.
It must have been a par 3, surely.
Oh, yeah. It was a par 3.
So do you play it as much as you possibly can, or do you have much time for recreation and things like that?
4 kids take up a lot of time with sports and school and activities and such. But I like to get out and play. It's a lot of people like coming to prior to the pandemic, a lot of people like coming to San Diego in the winter months just because of the weather and, being able to go out and play golf instead of shoveling snow.
Absolutely. So given that you're so busy as a family man, do you have time for pets? And if you do, what types of pets do you have and love?
4 kids. No, we actually have a chocolate lab. That's our fifth child.
Beautiful. Yeah, they got a wonderful temperament. Absolutely. Now, what's the dog's name?
Boxley.
Boxley. Fantastic. So, now, I'm sure there's lots of movies that go through your house, but if you had to choose one yourself, what's your favorite movie, do you think?
Oh, I like the dumb guy movies, so Happy Gilmore, stuff like that.
Stuff of legends.
Yeah, more mindless comedy, just to
numb the brain.
Relax and enjoy,
yeah, because you would have a very active brain. You'd be deeply involved. I was reading some articles and how you're involved on Bloomberg and other pretty predominant locations on the net. And I'm surprised you've got any time to rest at all. So it's a real privilege to have you here.
No, and thank you. And I will say this: I have a great team that really keeps the wheels on the bus here. So it's without them, it would be very difficult.
It'd be very different. Now, well, that leads me to the next question, if I may. What's a day look like for you? What's your daily routine involved? Are you an early riser, and what types of things do you do?
I am definitely an early riser, and I go to bed early, but I like being able to get up early when everybody's still sleeping and have my coffee and catch up on emails and have that quiet time before I come to the office and the chaos kicks in. Oh yeah,
absolutely. Now, when somebody like you, Chris, gets to the top of the tree, do you still think there's some value in educating yourself? And do you have what's your best modus operandi for learning? Do you have mentors? Do you read books? What's your thing?
Oh, I read. I talk to people. I'm the first to admit I don't know everything, and I love learning about especially in the IoT space. I love learning about what people are doing, how they're doing it, the different verticals, the use cases. It's, I don't want to say I nerd out, but I love digging into it, reading about it, and, looking at websites and seeing how people are doing stuff. So
yeah, fantastic. I listen to this and I think to myself, Chris, if I may, we always hear about the success stories, but a large part of the My Future Business audience are startups. They're entrepreneurs who are looking for opportunities. They're also investors. But many of them learn a lot, in fact, probably more from the stories about failure. What have you learned from failure?
Failure is really not an option. I mean, I think failure comes in different levels and different forms. But I will say this: we're in a market where you can do whatever you want, and you can be as successful as you want, or you can not. And it really, do you have the motivation to go out and do it? Failure to me, I started this company in my spare bedroom, right? So I mean, I don't think you can get much closer to, pure failure than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just, you got to keep on keeping on. You got to keep on fighting every day. And, it's a grind, but it's a business, and it's it's a fun business, fortunately for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, why are you doing it? I guess would be the main question. But Chris, this is wonderful having this insight, this backstory. And now I guess it's a really good segue into direct communication solutions. What is it? And tell us a little bit more about it.
So, at the end of the day, we're really a solutions integrator, right? So when you look at IoT, there's three basic pillars to every solution, right? So you've got your airtime, wireless connectivity, you've got your hardware, and then you've got your SaaS platform or user interface. So, we really listen to people, listen to what their problems are, and then we will go create a solution for them, and we'll bring those three pieces together and then package it up and give it back to them in the exact format they want, right? Being able to see the data they want. So, we're very flexible, and we can be, very, very easy to work with when it comes to customizing a solution that fits your needs for how you need to run your business.
You have a lot of brands underneath, I guess, the umbrella company. Some of them are listed behind you there, MyFleet, MySensors and the likes. But I also noticed one that really caught my attention was one that even monitors beer's life cycle. That really got me thinking, wow, this is a very diverse, service that you're providing.
It's it's my personal pet hobby that we're going to bring to market. And full transparency, the pandemic really kind of forced us to put it on the back burner just because all the bars and restaurants were closed. But, again, if you look at IoT and as a whole, it's such a broad spectrum and area that, when you really start to boil it down, you have to focus on certain verticals. So, if you look at the draft beer industry, for example, which is what this solution will do, the average loss on a keg of beer is 20%.
Oh, wow.
Right? So when you start to nerd out on the actual numbers, a keg of beer holds 1,984 ounces. 20% of that loss is about 25 pints of beer. You sell 25 pints at $5 a pint.
Do the math.
There's a lot of loss there. So the loss primarily in that space comes from temperature, CO2, overpouring, free drinks, theft, spillage, multiple areas. So the system we've designed will sit on top of a keg, and it will monitor the temperature at the keg level, flow, so you'll be able to see how many ounces were poured, and then you'll be able to, put that up against your POS data to see, how many ounces were actually poured versus how many ounces were actually charged for, right? So you kind of take that theft out. We built in foam over beer and then shut-off valves for the legal issue. So, if last calls at 10 p.m., you can set up the system and shut off all your kegs at the keg level. So there's no after-hours pours.
Can you imagine how much money that would be saved?
It's a if you look at a bar, say with 8 taps in it, and they go through 5 kegs per tap a month, and you're losing 20% per tap at low end $5, high end you pay $8-9 for craft beer. The losses add up, and then that's from a micro perspective. And then when you start looking at it going out, you take that data then, and then the distributors that are distributing the beer, they know that they've got real-time visibility into their customers' inventory levels. They can see from a brand perspective that you're selling the beer at the right temperature, the right CO2 pressure. There's a lot of outside value that comes from just being able to monitor that keg.
Now, there's lots of abbreviations that you've touched on already, and I think to simplify it for the audience, you've said POS. I know what POS is because it's in the retail space, point of sale, but you've also talked about IoT. Can you explain what IoT actually is for those who may not understand that?
IoT is Internet of Things. It's it's a very broad term in my mind, and I think you get different answers from everybody you asked. But from our perspective and my perception of it, it's really being able to harvest all the big data that's available in a vehicle, in a restaurant, a bar, a facility, a hospital, a school, whatever, wherever those assets are, and it's harvesting that big data and then giving it back to the end user or customer in a usable form that fits their business model so they can efficiently and effectively run their business.
So overlaying that on the brands that you work with at DCS, what type of organizations and networks does DCS support and operate on?
We have multiple partners across multiple products, software, airtime. From our perspective, our job is to create a solution for a partner or a customer that solves their problem. And to do that, you have to be agnostic in a lot of areas, right? Because one piece of hardware may not fill every need. So you may have to, different hardware, people have different relationships with different people. So it's it's really just listening to them on, what they need and then what they want, and then focus on what they need and ultimately give them what they want.
The pandemic you touched on earlier, Chris, it's obviously having an impact on everything and everyone globally, and we're all looking for brighter days. But I wonder, how has that affected the global supply chain and in turn DCS directly? It's
going to have a massive impact on it, right? I mean, I think we're seeing the very beginnings of it today, right now. There's component shortages, there's lead time issues. It's tough right now, and I think we're going to see some of the lead times get pushed out this year, and then I think they'll start to contract and go back to normal lead times begin first part of next year.
So do you have plans to extend lead times and really accommodate for future pandemics? Because let's assume that there's going to be something else that happens in the future. Surely we can get smarter about these things.
It's, there's a lot of outside influences that are, really putting a stress on it. There's a technology transition going on in the U.S. right now with, the carriers, the cellular carriers they're shutting down their 2G, 3G networks and then migrating everybody to 4G. That's adding a lot of stress to the supply chain, in itself, just having to replace all the units in the field, plus continue to build your business and grow your business by, adding new subscribers or new customers. So supply chain's tough. We do a pretty good job of staying in front of it and forecasting and placing POs, and trying to keep product on hand, but, it's a lot of outside influences we don't have control over. So
yeah, thank you for sharing, Chris. This great insight. You talked about 2G. What else is there? 4G and upcoming is 5G. I believe that between now and maybe a decade's time, 5G will be the standard, if not something else. What are you doing to take advantage of this? I guess this window of time.
So all of our new solutions are based on the latest 4G technology. We've already made that transition. The biggest challenge that we're going to end up seeing in the near future, by the end of this year, early next year, is just being able to get accurate numbers and plan for the replacement of all the 2G devices that are deployed in the field today that have to be upgraded to 4G. So a lot of them have been, but there's still a massive amount of devices out there that are eventually they're going to go dark when the carriers sunset that technology.
That could be seen as a big problem or a massive opportunity. And I think to myself, let's try and educate the audience here, Chris. Expand your mind, everyone who's on the show, because when we talk about devices, we're talking everything from transportation, we're talking medical supplies, we're talking mobile devices. What are some of the other devices? Everything.
It's hundreds of verticals and an infinite amount of solutions that these things are in. It is a challenge, but it is a challenge that I am so looking forward to conquering this year, because it's going to be it's going to be good for us as well as all of our customers, right? Because everybody's going to eventually upgrade. It's just planning for it, getting the product in, and making it happen. But it's a challenge that we've accepted, and we're we're going to figure
go
out
for it. You have a lot of very important relationships with suppliers and other people. Could you tell us a little bit about, I guess, some of the major wins that you've had in terms of mergers and acquisitions and things like that?
We just announced, we launched our MyFleet Plus Vision, which is our 4G dash cam solution on US Cellular, which is now the fourth largest cellular carrier in the U.S. after the T-Mobile Sprint merger. We're working with some bigger players in the industry that you'll see some press on here shortly. And it's just fighting through the fight and delivering the solutions that people need.
Yeah, fantastic. I've been reading a lot about DCS leading up to the call, and I was reading something about the buyout of Zergo. I wonder what happened there, and how does that reflect on the valuation of DCSX?
Hats off and congratulations to those guys. They great group of people. They've done a great job and they deserve it. I think I think it really is starting to give some exposure to the IoT space in general, and what can be done there, and the not only the technology opportunities but the financial opportunities as well, right? So I'm thrilled that they got the valuation that they got, and I hope it becomes a standard and goes up from there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you talked about pricing benefits. Some of the technology, and this blew my mind, can be upwards of 70% cheaper than what's currently out there. Why is that? So
that's on our My Sensors product. So we've designed our own sensors. We've designed our own platform for it, for the user interface and the data. So basically what we've done is we started with Bluetooth technology, Bluetooth 5, and we created a sensor which is, I've yet to see one that has as much features as we do, but it's Bluetooth 5, and it senses temperature, humidity, light, air pressure, proximity, accelerometer, door open, door close, and a multi-purpose button. So, when you start looking at the cost side of, just the hardware on deploying sensor solutions, it's typically been one sensor function per sensor. So, if you wanted to do temperature and humidity, you'd have two sensors, and then you have two batteries that you have to manage, and two deployments, and then double the cost. So when you look at our sensor, you're really taking advantage of 8 sensor functions in one sensor.
Yeah, fantastic. You've amalgamated all of them. I was actually the quality manager at a robotics and automation company for many years, some years ago, and all of this makes a great deal of sense to me. It can impact and improve the efficiency of manufacturing, logistics, deliveries, anything, fleets, the whole works. You can't even start to imagine the scope of which DCS can help people. Tell us a little bit more about who you're helping at the moment.
It's a wide range, right? So on the fleet side, it's service companies, long haul trucking, passengers, soccer moms just tracking their kids. On the sensor side, it's everything from beer, like we discussed, to assets, to tool tracking, to cannabis, right? So when you look at the different verticals, they're all very similar when you boil them down to where they have the same basic requirements, right? So beer, biggest enemy is temperature. Cannabis, biggest enemy is humidity, right? So, you can take that sensor data and then give it back to the business owner, and then they can, at the end of the day, our solutions can tell you if you have a problem before it becomes a disaster.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's that early notification of, hey, I've got vibration in my HVAC, or my, door's been open too long, or, my temperature is spiking and I've got food or perishables, right? It just gives you that data so you can take action on it.
It's all about measurement, isn't it? And getting that real-time feedback.
It's all it is. It's, having access to that real-time data that, you can act on as a business owner.
Yeah, there seems to be this discussion around the benefits and I guess some of the issues relating to 5G. Do you see that the world is going fully wireless in the future? You've talked about your Bluetooth connectivity earlier. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Oh, wires are so 2000s. Everything's going to be wireless. It's
yeah.
I mean, when you start looking at, some of these IoT solutions have 5, 7, 10, 15, 20-year battery life, and it's amazing, what you can do with these, and then, all the other wireless technologies that you can hang off it, and all the, peripheral accessories you can hook up to these, types of solutions. It's amazing what you can do. It's like the world's best jigsaw puzzle. Right?
Can you imagine the copper and the optic fiber that we could save, just hundreds of kilometers of it?
Oh, yeah, and it's fast. 5G, the spectrum there is going to, it's going to really allow that market to explode. And then the nice thing, 4G is still relatively new. That's where, we're going to spend our lives is, creating those IoT solutions that run on the 4G side, which will be, LTE Cat 1, Cat M, or narrowband IoT.
Yeah, fantastic. Is it a borderless business, DCS? Do you serve the globe, or is it just locally at the moment? What's the plans?
We will sell our solutions to anybody that needs them. No, we we do a lot in Canada.
Yeah.
Actually, have a couple of partners in Australia that we work with that we've
fantastic
started building the relationship and starting to work things out. But that'll be good for us. And then we primarily try to stick to the U.S. in North America. That's where we're that's really where all of my team's expertise is in, is the technologies that are available here.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of talk about technology security. How do you go about managing the security components to the business, or is that not an issue?
Yeah, I mean, ours is, I don't see how, we do have security, but, when I look at it from our side, is somebody really going to try and hack in and see what your temperature is in your walk-in refrigerator?
No. Because I mentioned that because I remember seeing one of your products, which was one of those on-table type octopus-looking things where people could dial in, and I don't know if that was actually a sensor or some other device that was on.
That was the early prototype, yes.
Oh, there you go. That's probably why I was thinking about it. Yeah. Now, look, this has been such a wonderful call. Now, this is also, importantly, an opportunity. I know you're listed. I guess let's start with the tickers. What are the tickers? Are you on the Canadian markets, the US markets? Where are you?
On the Canadian, it's dcsi.cn, David, Charles, Sam, Nora. And then on the US side, it's DCSX.
Fantastic. Now, you're always talking about how important it is to have a solid team of good people behind you. What is it like? Because I know a lot of people on the call are worried about how they're going to manage a team when they build it. And how did you find that experience when you started to employ people to work alongside you? Was it natural for you?
It goes back to that learned life experience I got while I was in the military, and then as a 911 dispatcher, and it's just it's hard to judge people you don't know. A lot of people have great resumes, look good on paper.
Oh yeah,
interview well, not so much when it's game time. It's just one of those gut things that you based on experience, you can kind of tell if somebody's going to work or not work. And from our side, my side personally, it's more about how can somebody interact with the senior executive team I've got. That one of the guys has been with me since the Navy, so
way back
we've been working together.
Now, importantly, you've shared the ticker information. I bet you there's a few people on the call today going, how can I learn more? So if they want to do that, Chris, where are they actually going to go? Do you have a website?
You can go to our website, dcsbusiness.com. And then, my contact information's on there for investors, as well as a couple of the board members. So they can
Fantastic.
Reach out and we'll share what we can share without getting into trouble.
Into the weeds, as it were. But
Into the weeds, yes.
I've really enjoyed this call, Chris. There is absolutely so much more that we could cover about DCS. I wish you all the very best with it. And with all that being said, this has been just an absolutely incredible show. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.